Today's guest is a true testament to what happens when you combine a massive heart with an obsession for the craft. From the streets of Syracuse, New York, he's built a pizza family that truly does it all. Let's welcome Nick Sanford from Toss and Fire Pizza. Hey, Nick.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, you guys are up in Syracuse, and I really want to get into your story because I noticed you guys have like a bunch of stuff going on. Like, you have a bunch of like trucks and places and stuff.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been I'll give you the kind of elevator pitch of Toss and Fire. So we've been in business 11 years next month. We started with a mobile like pull behind trailer that I had gotten from a company called Breadstone Ovens out of Texas back in 2015 and kind of started the company. It was the idea is that it was going to be like a side gig. I was a manager at Panera Bread at the time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was going to be like I was going to do it on my days off, and I had this like crazy like thought that it was just going to be like a you know just a little side gig to make some extra money and make pizzas because I've always enjoyed making pizzas and it was my first job.
Mhm.
But so we started with this pull behind trailer and it was popular and people really liked it and I loved doing it and I wasn't a huge fan of Panera at the time, so I ended up quitting the job there and did it full time and kind of grew from there. And we opened our first brick and mortar the following year in 2016. When we were operating two trailers at the time, and
Mhm.
really needed a place to make our product and prep our toppings and all that kind of stuff. So I found this restaurant was half of a building. One half was a pizzeria, one half was a Chinese restaurant, and I used to drive by it on my way to this store that sold like restaurant product to places, and
Mhm.
had met a guy who was a realtor and he did commercial real estate, and he's like, "Oh, I know the landlord. Let me reach out to him." And it turned out that the guy who was there wasn't like paying his bills and stuff, and they uh, let us move in and sign a lease, and we've been there. It'll be 10 years this October that we've been in that location.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, it's kind of grown from there. We opened a second location during the pandemic in 2020, and a third location in it's been 2 years. We call it a satellite location, but it's inside of a beer hall called Harvey's Garden. We have like
Mhm.
a food truck facade kind of thing that we built, and it's really cool. It's got a wood fire oven in there, and we do just like one size pizza inside of this beer hall, which is
Wow.
definitely probably my favorite. I don't know if I want to pick favorites, but it's one of my favorite locations for sure. It's a really cool setup, and it kind of ties into our whole food truck theme, which is how we got started. And we currently operate three food trucks, the three brick and mortars, and a commissary kitchen in Syracuse where we run the food trucks out of and also prep our doughs and sauces and toppings and all that stuff for the restaurant locations.
Wow, that's so incredible. I mean, you guys have really grown like crazy in the last like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a really wild experience. It's been awesome. Our customers have been incredible. The community has been incredible to us, and it's really we've been able to take this thing from a mobile trailer into a multi unit kind of deal, and I've been very fortunate to be able to do so.
So cool. So let's talk about you. Did you grow up in Syracuse?
I actually did not. I grew up in Connecticut. I'm from right
Okay.
outside of New Haven, Milford, Connecticut, originally.
Pizza
So I grew up
capital.
grew up there. They call it the pizza capital now,
Yeah.
which is cool. I'm a huge fan of New Haven style pizza. We actually just started making New Haven style pizza in two of our main restaurants here. Funny enough, when I started the company, I was like, I didn't think people would eat New Haven style pizza at the time, which I still kind of stand by. I don't think they would have back then.
Yeah.
But because it's kind of gotten some national recognition and, it's Portnoy's favorite style of pizza. So people are like becoming more and more aware of it as things move forward. So we started doing pop-ups a little over a year ago, and we would do like one or two a month on a Monday when we were normally closed, and that's all we would sell. And fortunately, the community came out because they liked our other styles of pizza and wanted to see what New Haven was all about.
Yeah.
For the ones who didn't know what it was, and we got a lot of people who really liked it. We got some people who didn't like it, and people who knew New Haven or had been there really liked what we were doing. So we decided to add it to the menu. So it's been on the menu for I think about 2.5 months now.
Wow.
Um, which has been really fun because, I grew up eating it. I grew up in that, around that style of pizza. So it was a lot of fun for me personally to be able to be like, hey, I want to introduce you to something that I really know a lot about, but you may have never heard of. And this is New Haven style lab eats. And we kind of have been introducing it to people in the area and, made it part of our offerings, and we've been growing it ever since. And but yeah, I grew up in Connecticut.
That's awesome. And were you like, did you work in restaurants? Were you like younger? Were you like, okay, I want to work in the pizza industry, or where did your life take you?
Yeah, so my first job ever was in a pizzeria. I was 14 years old. I used to go to a pizzeria called Bell and Napoli in Milford. It was down the street from my house. I would ride my
Mhm.
bike down there, walk down there after school, and get a slice or order a garlic bread. And there was a cashier. Her name was Barbara. She was awesome, and she goes, "Nick, we're looking for someone to bus tables. Would you want to work here on Friday and Saturday nights? We'll give you $5 an hour." And I was like, "Absolutely, I'm in." And
Yeah.
I started bussing tables on Friday and Saturdays, and it was my first job. I never had a job before, so
Mhm.
I kind of like I walked into the kitchen and I like instantly fell in love with like the chaos of the
Yeah.
kitchen. Like this is so cool. Like they're moving around like crazy. They're cutting pies, they're making pies, they're cooking pies. They got, they're making dinners and subs and stuff over there, and like, the language in the kitchen where people are cursing, and like just like the fun atmosphere of like a busy kitchen. And this place was busy. They had I think like 10 or 12 drivers on a Friday, Saturday night at a time. Like, it was a lot of pickup, and they had a whole dining room, and, the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
um, I was really interested in it. I wanted to learn more. So I started bussing, but then they let me wash dishes and they taught me how to cut pies, taught me how to make pies, answer phones. I wanted to do everything. So
Yeah.
because I was willing to work, and I, wanted to do all that stuff, they let me, and I got to learn everything. I did that from the time I was 14, past like through all of high school. And then in high school I ended up going to culinary school. After high school I ended up going to culinary school,
Nice.
and then hospitality management school after that, and just trying to learn as much as I could about the industry. And then I wanted to do other things besides pizza, so I did fine dining for a little bit. I did contract food service for a little bit, and then I was when I got the job as a manager at Panera,
Mhm.
because basically, you know it came down to you made more money being a manager than you did cooking in a
Sure.
kitchen. So
Yeah.
that was kind of how I got to that point. And then I was I transferred to Syracuse with Panera, and was like, I don't really like this anymore. And then I started looking into doing my own thing.
Wow. That's a pretty incredible story. You've basically been prepping for this your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's crazy. Like I don't, I always think like I was like, I don't know if I didn't, my first job wasn't in a restaurant, like if that's what I would have done. But
Yeah.
because it was like, I don't know, I was so interested in it. Like I was like, this is just I love the chaos of the kitchen. I love like the working with other people in the kitchen and like building those relationships, and you know, the work that the making something and then watching somebody eat something you made is like will forever be like one of the best things that I think you could do.
Yeah.
Um, I've always just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Now, going from like, you went into a corporate food world with Panera, and then you came out of that and you created something that is such like a mix of like corporate, because you have a bunch of locations and you have the food trucks, but you also have created this like family pizzeria, like this
Yep.
authentic pizzeria. So how did you kind of merge the two?
I think that throughout my entire career in the industry, I've tried to take something from everything I've done. Like
Yeah.
I don't know that I noticed this at the time, but like as I've reflected on things, last year was our 10-year anniversary, and I did a lot of reflecting on where we started and where we were. I think I took something from everything I've ever done. I learned this thing from the pizzeria. I learned so much from worked at a fine dining place called Scribner's with my father-in-law and with Scribner, who is the owner. Like I learned so many things from them that
Yeah.
if I didn't have that experience, I don't think I could have ever had the experience of starting this business, because I learned about cooking so many things from scratch, and like just the different atmosphere of, they were a really small place compared to even the pizza place was like a huge business. They were like a really small mom and pop. It was the father, the husband and wife, his son worked there. Like it was a very family oriented thing.
Yeah.
I took a lot from that, and then I took a lot from the corporate world. Like, I may have not liked working for Panera, but Panera has a lot of great systems in place, which is really
Yeah.
important when you're multi units. Having systems, having things that how to operate, how to handle situations, like all those sort of things, standard operating procedures, like all those things are really important, and Panera obviously has those things. So I learned a lot from that too, and I tried to take something from everything and kind of put it together to make what I wanted my vision to be.
Yeah. No, that's so, so cool. Now, when you kind of put your menu together and you curated and brought all these like, different ideas together, what did you come up with?
So I mean, we were just a wood fired, like it was wood fired pizza. Like that's how we started. That's like I built the business on wood fired pizza. The expansion of that has really been fueled by, like, I'm a pizza nerd. I love pizza in general. I go to Pizza Expo every year. I have met people from across the country. Like, I'm a student of pizza. So, like,
Yeah.
I see these people, I see these different styles of pizza. Like, I had never had Detroit style pizza in my life. I saw about it. I saw that it was like people were starting to do it everywhere. I ate some and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I was like, I'm gonna learn how to make this because
Yeah.
I just liked it. So that was how, like, I got into that style of pizza. I was like, I just literally saw it at Pizza Expo one time and was like, that looks delicious. I wanna know more about it. And then I dived in and kind of got into it. But the menu
Yeah.
has kind of grown throughout the years from things we did, like our core is our wood fired pizza. That's what everybody, our food trucks are wood fired. That's what we've
Yeah.
been known for over 10 years now, but we've expanded it by adding different styles to kind of, from our own curiosity and interest, and just like to offer various things for people so that there's always something for everybody.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And do you guys have like a favorite that people always get?
I think our wood fire, and I think it'll probably always be this way because we're built on that. Is the favorite. We have our salt potato pizza, which is like kind of what put us on the map. Which salt potatoes are a Syracuse thing. If you're not familiar, basically you
Okay.
take a small potato, you boil them in salt, and then, like, you might have it at a cookout and you dip it in some butter. They're very delicious. But we
Mm,
took them and we turned them into mashed potatoes and we put them on a pizza. So it's like a loaded potato pizza. Uh,
wow.
the idea is not new, but using salt potatoes is new, right? So we kind of tied into a local thing, and we pushed it for years, and kind of, people tried it. A lot of people liked it, and we've been able to kind of grow off of that. Um, yeah.
That's so cool. And do you have like a go-to yourself?
I'm right now. It's the New Haven because I love thin, crispy, charred pizza with that chew. Like, it's just
Yeah.
delicious. But I love the New Haven. I love a classic margarita, wood fired
Mm,
pie, the salt potato because, like I said, we kind of built the whole business off of that. Or our Detroit style, we have a honey pot that's really good. It's with pepperoni and Mike's hot honey and hot cherry peppers. I
mm.
really like that. Like, we've got all these different styles so that if you're in the mood for something thin and crispy, you can get it. If you want something softer, like a Neapolitan-ish pie, you can get it. If you want the Detroit that's a thick crust, you can get it. So,
That's so cool. Now, if somebody like sees you guys, sees a food truck or comes into one of your places, what's something that you really want people to know about you that they may not know when they first like walk in?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of places say this, but, like, we truly, like, we try to make everything we can in house. That's been a huge goal of mine for a long time, and something about a year ago, we really kind of shifted gears on, and made it a point to make as much as we can. So having a centralized commissary location, we make our ranch, our blue cheese, our obviously our pizza sauce, our dough. We're doing our own meatballs. We're cooking our own bacon, cutting our
Wow.
own bacon. We're doing, making our own croutons. We're doing, basically every sauce we can make. We make it ours. We make all our dressings, all that kind of stuff. We truly, like, want things to taste the best they can, and we
Yeah.
want to do it ourselves if we can, right? Um, so that you're not getting the same thing when you eat our food. Like, you go down the street to a bunch of restaurants and they're using the same, Ken's packet of dressing, or, whatever item it might be. We try to differentiate ourselves as much as we can, um, and serve a great quality product.
That's so, so cool. Now, what has pizza meant for your family?
I mean, it means everything. I mean, it's allowed us to be part of this community. It has allowed us to, having my own business is, I mean, it's great most of the time, right? And sure,
Yeah.
some days it can be a lot, obviously. And I think any business owner will tell you the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it's allowed us the freedom to, I won't say do whatever we want because I have a lot of constraints owning a
Yeah.
business, but yeah, it's just allowed us to be, and I mean, it supports our lives. It supports, my kids going to dance, and my son going to karate, and all those things. I mean, it's, when you're supporting local businesses, you're supporting people in your community,
Yeah.
and we're able to support, we're over like 100 employees during our peak season. That's 100 different people that rely on us for a job, and it's, I definitely don't take it lightly.
Yeah. The one thing I love about this model and these pizzerias is that they're not only supporting people in the community with jobs, but also supporting just community initiatives. And so
Yeah,
I love the kind of the camaraderie of bringing the community into the pizzeria that then supports other people outside.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, most locally owned restaurants and stuff are the people who are donating gift cards to various things. They're the people
Yeah.
that are sponsoring, I sponsor a little league team, all those things. Like every one of those is, it's a benefit for me because those people are learning about us, right? But it's a
Yeah.
benefit for them because we're a local company that's supporting a local organization or a local team or a local, whatever. So I've met so many people over the years, through stuff like that. And it's been incredible to be part of this community and to grow this business in this community. It's been a blast.
Yeah, yeah, community support makes it everything for sure. Now, going into, we talked about you've had so much success and you guys have grown so much. Can you tell me about maybe a time where you went through hardship in growing this business and what you did to overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously I think COVID was a difficult time for everybody. We opened a location in COVID. We took a risk
Yeah.
during COVID, but there was a lot of really, I don't know that that was the best decision I made was trying to open a restaurant during COVID. It was a really, really hard, like, first year and a half in that location. And it's fortunately it's doing good now, but it was a hard thing to get into, and our food truck business obviously being a mobile business and was being so much of our business. Weddings were canceled, concerts were canceled, like all these things were canceled. It
Yeah.
was terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. I for sure thought that it was gonna be the end of it, right? And, fortunately, I think you had to do this, but we pivoted, right? We started
Yeah.
going into neighborhoods. We started doing, takeout parties, basically. So we would pull up into somebody's driveway, people would be able to order, they would get, like, an assigned time, and they would come and pick up their pizza. That
Wow.
pretty much saved the business because I don't think if that didn't happen and we didn't do that and grow that, between all of the catering deposits and stuff we had to refund and all the things that were canceled, like, there were no weddings, there were no 20,000 person concerts, like, there were all these things, the state fair was canceled, like, all these things that we do just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Um, and it took a long time for those to come back and be normal again. So we had to pivot, and it was terrifying for sure. I mean, it was one of the scariest things I've ever.
Yeah. No, I think for a lot of us, and I respect the sheer determination because I feel like you not only decided, like, no, we're not closing, we're going to do
Yeah,
this instead, but then we're also just going to keep expanding through this. And I had a very similar thing with my business. It was like we lost half the clients from a certain area. And then we were like, okay, we're going to go and get these types of clients now because this is who we can do business with. And you have to do that fast.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was like, I remember, so it was March, like, 16th or something we closed, or
Yeah.
the 17th. I remember opening the restaurant and being like, "Oh my god, like, we can't sell beer anymore because we're not having dine-in, so, like, we've got all this beer, so we gotta sell this beer to go. We gotta figure out, like, do a growler fills," and, like,
Yeah.
I just remember that feeling, that sinking feeling of my dining room being empty and my dining room being full of pizza boxes, like, just, like, turning into storage, basically. Um, we had to pivot, and I was like, food truck season was just starting. We don't start till March or April because it's very seasonal here with the weather.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, we're not like, It was every day I would have 10 new emails of things being canceled, of concerts
Oh,
being canceled, of weddings being canceled, graduation parties being canceled, and everybody needed refunds. And it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna obviously do the right thing. I'm gonna refund people, but like I don't
yeah.
know that we're gonna make it through this. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you guys did make it through it and that you
So
grew
am I.
during it.
Yeah, so am I, for sure.
Yeah, a very good testament to the determination. Let's talk about the family dynamic.
Mhm.
You guys are a
Sure.
family business, and I like to hear, I grew up in a family pizzeria. I
Mm.
was, my grandfather opened our family's pizzeria back in 1960. So I was pretty much born in the pizzeria. Like my parents lived in an apartment that was like connected to it. So
Love that.
it was awesome actually. It was the best way to grow up. So I really like to hear about how that dynamic works kind of like in your business.
Yeah. So, my father-in-law has been working with me for the last, God, what year is it now? Last 8 years. He's been a part of the business, and he got me the job in the fine dining restaurant. So, like, it's
Wow.
been really cool to like for him to be part of this too. And the last, he's like semi-retired now, but the last year he's been helping us with. We rolled out the commissary kitchen.
Mhm.
Started last October, and he helped us create a bunch of new house-made items over the last year. We started doing our own homemade desserts and like all this stuff. And like
Wow.
he's been a huge part of that, which has been awesome. My sister-in-law was a server with me for years at my North Syracuse location. She just graduated nursing school. She's a nurse now, which is awesome to see
Cool.
her doing her thing. But it's been awesome to have, family be involved in it and be part of the growth, and be part of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. I know my dad would always say, like, it was like my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my siblings, and we were all working together. And it was like, we would get into arguments and we would definitely have times where we didn't get along. But at the end of the day, my dad was like, we fight sometimes, but we're still family. So we're still doing
Absolutely.
this together.
Yep. Yeah. When we started, I have some pictures of some of our first events when my wife was there wearing our first daughter, Cora, who was born in February, and I started the business in April. So she was
Wow.
taking orders wearing her one of those baby carrier
Yeah,
things. Um, and we have 3 kids now, so she doesn't do a ton. She's not out doing stuff with me because she's very, very
sure.
busy. But she was part of that initial story. We were out doing events, and I didn't have we didn't have employees. Like it was, I had like I had a buddy who would help out, or this. Like I started hiring people, but like it was a very, very small thing because I had just quit my job, and I was like, I don't know if I can afford to pay people to do this.
Yeah.
Like it was just crazy. But it's been
Wow,
it's
that's really
been it's been a real cool experience.
yeah, it's so cool. So what does the future look like for you guys?
No current, expansion plans and stuff, but we're just kind of, we bought this building. I'm sitting in my office in the commissary kitchen, but we bought this building last year. We've had it for about a year. And we bought it to move the food truck operation here because we were running the food trucks out of one of our brick and mortar locations, and it was just we were kind of tripping over each other there.
Yeah.
Um, so we moved the food truck operation here, and then after food truck season ended, we turned this into our commissary kitchen for the whole company, which we're kind of, we make all of our dough here. We deliver it fresh to the restaurants every day. All of our sauces, all of our toppings, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So that's been a huge thing for us, for consistency, for quality, for all that kind of stuff. So, the current plan is to kind of just continue to improve and be the best we can be. And if more expansion comes from that eventually, we'll definitely you know look into it or consider it, and I'm sure something else will happen. Um but yeah, we're just kind of staying the course, and we want to be the best version of Toss and Fire that we can be. And I think we are. I just
Yeah.
want to keep growing off of that, keep building on that.
That's so cool. Well, I love the name. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Like, it's so cool. I can't wait to get out to Syracuse and see everything. So, if
Absolutely.
somebody wants to find you guys, how do they find you?
Yeah, so we're at Toss and Fire Pizza basically on all social medias, tossandfirepizza.com. Yeah, and we have brick and mortars in North Syracuse. That's our original one. Camillus, and in the city of Syracuse inside of Harvey's Garden. And then our food trucks are all throughout central New York. You can find us at the Great New York State Fair during that every summer. and various events. If you go to streetfoodfinder.com, our public schedule is on there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Guys, go and follow them. It's Toss and Fire Pizza on Instagram. All right. Well, Nick, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I can't wait to get this episode out. I was really cool talking to you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.